Mr. Clerk, are we ready?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Perfect. Hold on one second. Okay, sweetheart. I'm in the middle of budget hearing. I'm about to start. You ready, Paula? All right.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to welcome everybody, if possible. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the final agenda and the second budget hearing, September 26, 2023. It's not 5:01, it's 6:22, but it is the final, and second and final budget hearing after a lot of work. I just want to say thank you to staff for doing an incredible job, as always. You guys are the reason why this city keeps moving forward, and I want to say thank you again and give you my deepest appreciation for your hard work and unwavering support of keeping not only our standards high, but delivering on an incredible budget and ensuring that we offer our residents and our business community and anybody who comes to do business here in the city the best platform and the best quality of life. So I just wanted to say thank you before we move on in regards to the final budget hearing. Paula, take it away.
Thank you. Paula Rodriguez, Assistant Finance Director for Management, Budget, and Compliance. I also want to thank staff, so our budget staff. So we have Pedro Sanchez, Ivan Baez, Chris Garcia, Elsie Fuentes, and I want to thank all of the directors, especially our Finance Director, Diana Gomez, our City Manager, and our Commission Vice Mayor and Mayor for all of your contributions to this process. This is a process that we start very early in the year, and it's not the efforts of just myself or even my team. It is the efforts of the entire city, the residents, the commission, et cetera. And so we thank you all for this. And so I have a presentation today. We actually have 3 items today. So we have the setting of the millage, the final setting of the millage. We have the adoption of our budget and a resolution adopting our capital plan, our 5-year capital plan. And so I won't take too much time. Of course, we can always open up for questions as needed. This is a recap of the calendar that you've now seen a few times, but we are finally here, the last day, our second budget hearing, September 26th. And so you can see all of the progress that we've made to date in the development and all of the opportunities that we've had to come together as department staff and as commissioners and elected officials to discuss what's in this budget and do our best to try and serve all of the priorities of our community. So I'm going to jump a few slides ahead to our millage, because that is the first item that we have to adopt as part of the process. And this presentation, you will see, has not changed from the first hearing. And so our millage that we are proposing today is 5.559, so that's slide 17 in the presentation, which is the same millage that we are very proud to have maintained for our residents for at least the last 10 years. This millage represents a modest increase, and so I know that we talk about increases to our residents' taxes and the times that we're in, but the reality is that maintaining this millage is something that we can be very proud of. Understanding the impacts of inflation and escalation on cost and being able to maintain the taxes at the rate that they're at. And so this slide, you've seen it many times already, provides the impact to taxable property values. The orange amount of 513 is the median homesteaded property, and the 870,000 represents the average property tax value of a homesteaded property. And so you can see the impacts to those are $83 increase and $141 increase from the prior year. Estimated average taxable value of a homesteaded property, and so this is based on that average property value of $870,000. This is comparing the full-service cities, right? Full-service cities are defined as cities that provide both a police and fire service, and so Coral Gables 5.559 represents $4,800 of property tax to our resident, to our average taxable value. That same taxable value in Miami is $6,800 in property taxes, Miami Beach, $5,300, Hialeah, $5,400, and Biscayne, about $2,800. This is the property by type. And so the homesteaded residential is represents about 53% of the 19,000 properties, almost 20,000 properties in our city. The non-homesteaded, about 32, commercial, 8%, and all other, 5%. And this is property types defined by the property appraiser's office. And so this is our property tax revenue, also broken out by those property types. So you'll see the column for 23. This is the same information for 2023, with the exception of being in a pie chart, so you can see that same breakout here. Commercial represents about 20%, all others 7%, homesteaded properties about 45%, and non-homesteaded 27%. Again, these charts haven't changed, so this chart is the one that we also have seen, which now breaks out the information a little bit differently than how the property appraiser defines our property types. And so here you see that single family properties represent about 51% of our increased tax revenue. Condominiums, 12%, commercial, multi and other, 33%, and personal property, about 14% of our increased revenue of $13 million. And so when you take into consideration that condominiums are generally within our commercial areas, you can combine that condominium and commercial number to be about 45%. This is a comparison of the millage rates for full-service cities by year. And so you can see we are in the middle. We have maintained this same millage rate. And this is a comparison of all cities. The ones that are highlighted in blue are those full-service cities, and you can see that Coral Gables falls 12th in the 35 cities in Miami-Dade County. And so this is the pie chart that shows what our property tax dollars represent. So this is broken out by, this is a distribution of the property tax dollars that our residents pay. And so Coral Gables millage rate represents 30 cents of the tax dollars of a tax dollar that a property owner pays. Regional is 1 cent. The school board is 37 cents of every dollar of property taxes that our residents pay. And Miami-Dade County is 32 cents. And so that's the end of the presentation on our millage rate. Again, this is information that we've discussed before. And so if there's not any questions, the city attorney can read the item, or I'll let the mayor.
Madam City Attorney, will you read it into the record, please?
Item 3 on the agenda is an ordinance providing for the levy of taxes for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024. Fixing the rate of such levy, providing for the segregation and the application of the proceeds of such levy, providing for the separability of the provisions hereof, and providing that this ordinance shall become effective October 1st, 2023. This was passed on first reading on September 13th, 2023. Be it ordained by the Commission of the City of Coral Gables, Section 1, that in compliance with the Constitution and laws of the State of Florida, as now written, taxation is hereby levied upon all real and personal property within the present corporate limits of the City of Coral Gables for tax year 2023. A tax of 5.5590 mils, which is an 11.30% increase over the rolled back rate of 4.9946. All proceeds of the collection of this levy to be recorded into the general fund of the city and shall be reserved therein and dispersed, transferred therefrom for the sole and express purpose of paying the necessary operating and capital expenditures of the City of Coral Gables as departments, offices, and properties for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2024.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, do we have any public comment?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor, this does, and all members of the commission, does require a forfeits vote.
First speaker is Tom Wells.
My name is Tom Wells. I've lived in North Gables for almost 30 years, and my business, which is practicing law, is located in Coral Gables. I support the proposed budget, including specifically the funding and renovation completion of Burger Bob's, now known as Granada Diner, and the increase in compensation for commissioners for the following reasons. There are both quality of life and increased cost issues with delaying projects. The project delay prevents residents from using Burger Bob's, some of which have passed during the delay, such as the former commissioner who lived across from Burger Bob's. Burger Bob's was closed on February 13, 2022, and is not scheduled to reopen until October 2024, 32 months after it was closed. This delay significantly and adversely affects the hometown feel of Coral Gables. Mayor Lago initially promised that Burger Bob's would reopen in December 2022. That promise was not satisfied. Vice Mayor Anderson told me in an email that she did not appreciate the staff's response and delays excuses and has taken additional follow-up steps to make sure that these issues were taken care of. Vice Mayor Anderson also stated that the issues of the Coral Gables Country Club contributed to the delays of the renovations of Burger Bob's. Those properties are across the street from each other. There is no reason why Burger Bob's renovation takes almost 3 years. As the increased costs, the City Commission meeting on May 9th, 2022, discussing item G6, a matter that Vice Mayor Anderson sponsored, Mr. Iglesias disclosed a budget and timing to complete Granada Diner in 10 months for $580,000 to be open by February 2023. I will provide a copy of that budget to the city clerk when I complete my discussion. Now the budget's $1.443 million, an increase of over $860,000. A 250% increase, and a delay of 21 months. During the discussion at the last meeting, Mayor Anderson, Vice Mayor Anderson, emphasized how important it was for volunteers to have experience and degrees to provide background knowledge to sit on the City Charter Review Committee. Our city manager is an engineer and makes $278,119 per year. He should be able to timely complete a renovation project if he wanted to complete it. As a requisite degree, he does not have a Master of Public Administration. He has an engineering degree and was a former director of building, planning, and zoning for Miami, not the CEO or CFO of a city. The city managers of Miami Lakes and Miami Gardens both have Master of Public Administration degrees and make significantly less than Mr. Iglesias. I support the proposed fair and reasonable increase in compensation for commissioners paid by the city. The increase is approximately $40,000. The city manager makes 7 times that increase before taking into account the $900,000 that we lost for Burger Bob's. We need to police these cost overruns. This is not the first cost overrun. The mobility hub was at budget for $29 million and then came in at $62 million. I think we'd save a lot of money if the commission did its job and supervised the city manager to complete projects. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Clerk, if I may. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Mr. Manager, was the mobility hub $29 million originally? What was the price for the mobility hub?
It was $45 million, and it's up to over $60 million because of.
Okay. I just want to make sure we put that on the record because it's a big difference between the price that I remember. I know it was around 40-something million and not 29 million. It's a big, significant number. I do understand that Burger Bob's is delayed, but we've had a multitude of issues that we've dealt with there. If you'd like to go into depth, why we've been dealing with that and where we are right now, so people understand, because I received an email about Burger Bob's being further delayed, and I wanted people to understand that the contract has been signed with the contractor. We're moving forward. We're ordering long-lead items.
Contract has been signed, and we're moving forward, yes.
Okay. When do you think that we'll be formally breaking ground on that?
We are working right now on the notice to proceed number 1, so to firm up all those costs, and within a few weeks we'll provide the notice of proceed to the start to work order. We're firming up a couple of contracts right now.
And when do you think that we will be finished with that project?
About a 9-month job. Biggest issue is getting equipment right now, which we'll be ordering at the beginning of the job.
Thank you very much.
Nicholas Cabrera.
Good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the commission. Kirk, I think you said it best. I'm like the sun, right? I rise in the morning and I set in the evening. That's because I was here this morning. But I came back this afternoon because I watched the majority of today's commission meeting. And I do need to make sure that it is on the record that there are residents in opposition to the salary increases in today's proposed budget. And I heard from a lot of folks today during today's commission meeting, folks that I think were able to join, and majority of them coming from one special interest group known as the Coral Gables Neighbors Association, that are in support of the salary increase. But I myself, a city resident for 25 years, I'm 25 years old, I've lived here for 25 years. I resided at 45 NT and now resided at 1410 Cantoria before. For me, the position of commissioner comes with a set of responsibilities, and I don't think it's about the money. I don't think it's about doing this because you need to pay bills or anything like that. You do it because you have a dedication and a passion for this community, and I have an immense passion for this community. And this morning I mentioned how typically at these commission meetings and at city events, I wear a pin. And I brought that pin with me. I found it in my car, and this pin is the key to the city. And I wear this with pride because of what it represents to me, what it represents for my family, as my father was a former commissioner. And I think that it shows what being a commissioner means. And I think that the way that the salaries were proposed was wrong. I think that it should have been held, as Vice Mayor Anderson proposed today, on the floor rather than in the salaries. And I encourage the commission to reevaluate the salaries today before voting and adopting today's budget. I think that it could have been done just a little bit differently. Commissioner Fernandez, I want to thank you for taking the moment to speak with me prior to this meeting today. You heard me. I know that all my commissioners hear me. And I just hope that you will reconsider how you'll be voting on this matter. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, sir.
Ed Santa Maria.
Mr. Santa Maria, welcome back.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, commissioners, everyone else on this dais, especially after such a long day, which hopefully won't go much longer. So I just want to express my support for the passing of the budget as recommended, with one exception, and that exception being the commissioner's compensation. I don't think that this was deliberated enough. I don't think it was handled the way it should have been in the sunshine. I think that it is somehow a process that was opaque and lacked a lot of transparency. And that does not serve you on this dais or the residents of Coral Gables in a good way. I think that this line item in this budget should be withdrawn, the budget passed, and I think that there should be further public discourse on something as important as the compensation that you can extend yourselves. This doesn't really look right to a lot of people. I happen to agree. It's not very good. I heard the word optics used earlier. This goes beyond optics. This is transparency versus opacity. And I urge you all to consider this as you make your decision on the passing of this budget. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk,
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
I will be closing the public comment. Before we move forward and ask for a motion, does anybody have any comments, any questions from staff? Anything they'd like to further clarify? No. Then I'll have a motion.
Motion?
Second.
On the millage rate?
Millage rate.
Correct.
Vice Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Castro.
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez.
Yes.
Commissioner Menendez.
Yes.
Mayor Lago.
No. Moving on to number 4.
So item number 4, Mayor, is An ordinance adopting the annual budget of estimated revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024, providing for the separability of the provisions hereof and providing that this ordinance shall become effective October 1st, 2023. Whereas the city manager prepared and on July 1st, 2023 submitted to the commission a budget estimate of the revenues and expenditures of all city departments, divisions, offices, and properties for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2023, and copies of such estimate have been made available for public viewing at the Coral Gables Library and the office of the city clerk. And whereas the budget estimate submitted to the commission on July 1st, 2023 in the amount of $260,751,740 has been revised by the city manager to include revenue and expenditure increases in the amount of $2,394,012, bringing the total budget amount to $263,145,752, and that the following summary of estimated revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024 is hereby agreed upon and adopted along with the supporting data relating thereto on file with the Finance Department of the City of Coral Gables as the official 2023 to 2024 budget of the City of Coral Gables. Total operating revenues, $249,404,877. Total transfers from reserves, $13,740,875. Total revenues, $263,145,752. Total operating expense, $208,105,949. Capital projects, $41,764,062. Total debt service appropriation, $11,021,051. Total expenditures, $263,145,752.
Thank you very much, Madam City Attorney. My colleagues have any comments, any questions in regards to the budget, except for what a wonderful job you did along with staff and the city managers through the city manager's leadership? Anybody else? I'll be voting no. Again, I think it's very eloquently stated by the two individuals who spoke before. I think that we could have handled the salaries in a very different manner. We could have been a little bit more transparent. I think the optics, in my opinion, just paint the city with a pretty bad brushstroke. And moving forward, if this happens again, I'd like to see it happen in a commission meeting where we can have a little bit more transparency. We can potentially have a sunshine meeting and discuss these issues. Again, do I believe that a compensation increase for the commissioners were merited? Potentially. I just don't like how this was handled. And I think that we could have done a better job as a commission, as a city, in ensuring that it wasn't in the budget, but it was actually placed front and center to get buy-in from the entire community. And I'm pretty sure, and I'm going to go on a limb here, and hopefully the limb doesn't break, but if I would have been the sponsor of that legislation, I'm pretty sure the CGNA would have been here picketing and would have dragged me out and tarred and feathered me out in the public square. So at the end of the day, I understand the position that we're in. I just want to make sure that this, again, from all the residents that we've heard, does not erode at the trust of the commission. And staff had nothing to do with this. This was a request by the commission, and it was placed on the commission. It was placed in the budget at their request. And again, that's the way that our charter works. You need 3 individuals to move something forward. So moving forward, I'll be voting no on this issue. Does anybody else have any other comments they'd like to place on the record?
Just make a motion.
Second.
So we do have to clarify the changes that were approved during today's commission meeting.
Right, so the actual budget ordinance does not need to change because of the changes today, but we have incorporated the changes into the capital budget. The movements that were made between projects does not affect, they're all within the same fund, and so it doesn't affect the budget overall.
Okay, thank
By the
you.
way, and I commend my colleagues and staff for getting that done. I think it's incredibly important to address those much needed historic preservation issues. So, agreed.
Thank you as well.
Thank you for
I
that.
think we worked collaboratively at this hour. I can't hardly speak, but to be able to get these critical projects done, and I hope we can continue to work in that same fashion in the future to get things done. Now, the only reason I have to take exception and vote no is because we were not able to agree to pull the salary out of the budget and do it in a transparent manner. But otherwise, I'm pleased with what we've been able to accomplish today.
I'm glad that we're able to find a compromise with regards to the windows at City Hall, Phillips Park. I think that shows that we can work together in a collegial manner. We may disagree, but at the end of the day, we've moved forward with the city and our residents.
Do we have a motion?
We do. Commissioner Castro,
Yes.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Menendez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Anderson,
No.
Mayor Lago.
No. Moving on to item 5.
Item 5 is a resolution of the City Commission adopting the capital improvement program for the 5 fiscal years from 2024 to 2028.
Does anybody have any questions, anything they'd like to address? Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up for the good of the order? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Second.
So this particular item is the resolution adopting the the 5-year capital plan. This item does have the revision within the projects, moving the funds from Phillips Park to City Hall, the $2.5 million from Phillips Park to City Hall, and the $250,000 from the youth center to the Alhambra Water Tower. And so I would recommend that the motion include adopting the resolution with those changes.
Perfect. So we have a motion and a second on the floor?
As amended.
So amended.
Okay.
Commissioner Fernandez,
Yes.
Commissioner Menendez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Castro,
Yes.
Mayor Lago.
Yes. In closing, again, I'd like to reiterate what I started with. Thank you to staff. You deserve all the credit. To the manager, our city attorney, our city clerk, all our finance team, Paula, Diana, everyone who works with you. Thank you so much for doing a wonderful job, really working hard diligently to meet all our requests and provide the best budget for the city in regards to our current and our future needs. So thank all of you. God bless, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.